Welcome to the debauchery. We have such sights to show you.
Here's Johnny!
All you have left is my desire for you.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
Welcome back, all you horror movie loving fuckers. I'm Jay, and I am joined by my good friend from Phoenix, Jamie. Jamie, welcome back to the shit show.
Hi, thanks for having me back. I'm happy to be here.
When I hit you up earlier about doing another episode, you seemed like kind of thought I didn't want you on here because we were both a little tipsy on the last show.
We were just a little tipsy. I would just like to say that I hadn't eaten enough that day. I'd been working too hard to stop for lunch, and I raced home and I was like, okay, got to get on the podcast. And then you had texted me and said a picture of your little, of your drink. And you're like, oh, I'm already drinking. And I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. He's already drinking. By the time I have my drink, no, I guess everything just kind of caught up really quick. I didn't have enough to eat that day. And then I may or may not have had a little puff of something, and then all I remember is you saying, and we're done. And I'm like, but aren't we gonna? And you're like, no, we're done. And I was like, oh God. So the next day I'm like, I'm mortified. I don't know what I said, but I'll never be asked back. So I'm never listening to that episode. I don't want to know what happened.
And see, people, that's the thing here on this show is it's no holds barred. We don't.
I'm like, yeah, did I pass out? Did I take a dump on the floor? I don't know.
Hey, I don't edit shit, people. I still gonna put it up there. Hey, I've done one show, and that I did on my birthday, and I was so fucking tipsy that night. And, man, when I listened to that episode,
I can't believe we did that.
It was like new to me, like I never heard any of the shit I said because I was just going on. But no, like it didn't even cross my mind. You know, it didn't bother me. You know, none of that shit bothered me. Like I could tell we were both tipsy. And
Okay, I was just ashamed for no reason.
Remember when I got done though, I was talking to my wife and I was like, she's like, how'd recording go? It went good. I said, Jamie got a little bit tipsy though.
Yeah, just me, but I did. So I'll watch that from now on. I'll dial it back.
Hell no. Like I said, we full on send it on this show. We don't hold shit back.
Well, hopefully everyone listening is getting their favorite drink ready too. You know, because it's more fun that way.
I tell people all the time, we do go better with alcohol. I will say that.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. Not just on the show.
No. But if you stumbled across this shit show and by accident somehow, but here on this show, like I said, Fright Flick FMK, we watch horror movies and then we base them on if we would fuck it, marry it, or kill it. Some of the homework crap won't go ahead and get out of the way now because I don't like spending a lot of time on it. If you scroll down, if you're listening on your favorite podcast thingy, all the links to everything's right there in the description. You can go to the Debauch Network, where we also have other podcasters in there with Criminal AF, True Crime University. So go check those out. We're on
Some of those are really good, by the way. I've been listening to those.
They are.
Yeah. Dave Jari, love them. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, it's all in the links. We're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. But go like, subscribe, follow. If you listen on the podcast, take a second and give us a little rating or something. You know, preferably 5 stars. But if you think I'm a 1 star, you ain't gonna hurt my fucking feelings. But if you do give me a 1 star, you're on Spotify or whatever, and you do give me a 1 star, you know, at least leave a comment with it. Like Apple, you know, even on Apple, you can leave a little comment. But if you give me a 1 star, you know, jump in there and tell me why.
Yeah.
I may even talk about you on the show when after you do it, you know. My feelings ain't hurt. I just like making fun of people. So
same.
I welcome it all. But yeah, I don't like to spend a lot of time around that housekeeping stuff. But hey, I'll go ahead and tell you now, people. If you've listened to the past 3 or 4 weeks of this show, where me and my brother John did the August Underground trilogy, I get it. Those are some hard movies, and that was probably some hard shit to listen to us talk and joke about. So this movie, after the past 3, this movie we're about to talk about now, it's gonna be like getting up on a Sunday morning going to church. That's just how normal this was going to compare.
Just yes, could be Saturday morning cartoons. It was
This was Jamie's pick. Jamie gets to pick shit like this because she's one of the family members in the Patreon for $5 a month. People, I had to know that.
$5 a month. Look what
$5 a month, and so the family, they get there every now and then, they'll pick a movie, and I'll just either they come on here like Jamie's doing now, we talk about it, or I talk about it. So hey, go check out the Patreon. It's $5 a month. It all goes toward the show. I appreciate the support.
Money well spent.
Yeah. Now, Jamie, what movie you got for us this week?
So we have chosen The Sacrifice Game, which I think the other two movies that I've reviewed with you or talked about with you, I had already seen multiple times. And this was just something that while I'm looking at Shudder and seeing what's new, I was like, oh, The Sacrifice Game. And then I read about it and I'm like, okay, add to my list. That's all I knew about it. Then I think I watched a trailer and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll bite. And I didn't watch it until last night. For the show.
Yeah, same here. Like when you hit me up when we were texting about doing the show, said this movie, and I had seen it as I'm scrolling through Shudder. I didn't even stop to look at the description. I didn't look at the trailer or nothing. I just had seen it.
Yeah.
So when you picked this one to do, I just watched it earlier today, actually. Watched it earlier this morning, and it was, like I said, never seen it, and I like it when I enjoy doing any type of horror movies, but when the first time seeing something for both people, I like doing it that way. So, the 2023 Sacrifice Game. You can watch this one on Shudder. If you don't have Shudder, highly recommend it. You can even do the AMC. AMC Plus gets you Shudder plus a lot of other shit, and it's only like $30 for a whole year. Yeah, and so that's what I have. I use the AMC Plus. Okay. But yeah, check it out there. It was I always kind of peek at the run times on certain movies. Some movies are so good I don't know if it's 3 hours. I just enjoy it. And then there's some that could be an hour and a half, and it's like fucking watching paint dry. And so this one was only about an hour and 40 minutes. It was right there in the sweet spot, just right.
Yeah. I was able to squeeze it in before bedtime after a really long day when I didn't want to stay up too late. So yeah, under 2 hours.
What did you do you have the notes on who the director was?
Yes, I did make a note, and it's because the name sounded familiar. The credits, first of all, are pretty sensational. It's kind of like a throwback to like a 70s vibe. So I really liked that, and that caught my attention. And I saw it said a film by Jen Wexler, and I'm like, Jen Wexler, who is that? I know that name. And then I Googled her this morning, and I'm like, oh, and I'm just seeing some other, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but she's done some stuff, a couple that I've seen and liked. So I think she's definitely worth checking out, even though I'm not really familiar with her work.
So the name, I recognized the name when I watched it earlier today. But then I got busy and I didn't even look it up. But it definitely kind of looked for me when I seen it. And I always I think it's cool when I come across a female director that does the horror movies. I just think that's cool to me, and I've seen quite a few of them, actually, movies they've done. So those kind of stand out to me when I see those. So when I seen that, I was kind of like, okay, I was kind of looking forward to it. I did like when it kind of started off. I did like when it showed me December 22nd, 1971, when it's off, it shows up on the screen. And I do enjoy a movie that will take me back to the 70s.
Yes,
absolutely. So I grew up a little bit in the 70s, but me, I enjoy movies like that because I just like the look of it.
I do too.
Clothes, the houses, the cars, and as soon as I seen that, I like that right out of the gate, and I have my fingers crossed because what I didn't want it to go 1971, give me a little bit, and then bam, we're in 2022.
Exactly.
That's what I didn't want. And the fact that we're going to spoil it here, people, but it didn't do that. It stayed.
Yeah.
This thing take place over 3 days, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I like that too, because that's what I was waiting for. I was like, oh, now they're going to jump to now. And they didn't. So yeah, I like that about it also. Yeah, because it starts out, like you said, December 22nd, 1971, 3 nights until Christmas.
Holiday movie, people. Holidays.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I thought. I hear some carolers caroling. I see them at the front door, and I was like, "Oh, this is Christmas movie, Christmas horror film. Absolutely falls into that genre." Yeah, for sure. Which I love that genre, by the way.
Yep.
So, I was just gonna kind of start talking about it, I guess. So yeah, when we're watching those carolers at somebody's front door and they walk away, but then we're at that point of view of kind of watching from behind, and we realize that here comes a group of 4 people, and they walk up to the front door and they knock, and this guy, clean cut looking guy, says, "Oh, Merry Christmas," and they're like, "Merry Christmas," and then just stabs him right here, and that's it. And they all walk in, and that's when the mayhem begins.
Yeah, I like a movie that will give me a kill right out of the gate,
Yeah.
And so this one, as soon as he comes in the door, he's got that knife just right up in basically under his chin.
Yeah, and you hear his wife screaming, and then it gets pretty brutal because the 4 we're gonna find out the 4 spree killers, 3 guys and a girl, grab her and hold her down, and I'm like, uh-oh, we're gonna go into a sexual assault, and it didn't even get that.
That's what I thought when
they put her on the table, and you're like, here we go. But nope, they pinned her down and got the knife, and wham, did that again. And then I think, didn't they carve a piece off of her? Isn't that the first?
Not for her.
Okay.
Not for her. They just chopped her. They killed her, and then the old girl took the damn paintbrush and dipped it in the blood and was painting. And you see her go to start painting like some type of design.
Yeah.
And it just cuts from that point, and then you get this little girl waking up in the bed.
Mm-hmm. Looks like she started out of a dream or something.
Yeah, it was like
something
a dream.
Yep.
Yeah. And at that moment's where I was waiting on the whole, like, okay, here we go, 2022, but it didn't. She gets up, looks out the window, and there's a girl getting ready to go on a little run.
Oh yeah.
But it's weird that this whole little part of the run didn't really give you anything. She just went on a run.
Yeah, she just went on a run, and I think she observed, doesn't she see a young man and a woman like kissing, and then she's watching from the tree, and she kind of smiles like she approves, and then she jogs on back to her home, which then I think we find out is looks like a home for girls, like a boarding school. Yep.
And because after I watched it, it made me think, back to that part where she was on the run and she stopped by that tree and she's looking at that couple. Mm-hmm. And the part where she kind of like smiled at it, and then once you find out later on in the movie where I think her mom had died, and it was like she was with her stepdad or something, and so for me, I looked at it like, man, maybe that was her thinking back to like the good old days, like when her parents were that way, you know. But yeah, she comes back to this, and I said it is like I put in my notes. It looks like it's like an all girls boarding school.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
exactly
she comes right inside, goes upstairs, and goes to the shower. And so then once again, my fingers kind of crossed a little bit, people. I'm a fan of the boobies in horror movies.
Did not happen.
Not going to get them. There's no nudity in this one, people. Sad to say.
At some point I had to Google, I'm like, is this rated R? Because there's no boobs. And then I realized it's I guess not rated, but there were no boobs. So if that's what you're watching it for, sorry to disappoint. So she's shower, and then the lights switch off, and then it's like, I guess the other girls were playing a joke on her and, left her in the dark.
Yeah, because they were making some comments about the quiet girl, whatever, and then they just turned the lights off on her, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then they're in the classroom, and they're doing a class on like witches and witchcraft type shit. Well, the girl that was on the run, you see her sitting there, and while the teacher's talking, you see she glances over at the little quiet girl, the girl that woke up from the dream earlier. Clara is her name.
Yeah.
And she looks over at her, and you see all these cuts on Clara's wrist. And I'm like, oh, great. Here we go. Got us a fucking cutter. Daddy didn't hug me enough when I was growing up. So damn it. I need to, I like it when the red water flows. Let me cut my fucking shit so I feel special. That type of shit. That's what I just assumed Clara was when I seen her.
Exactly.
She had that little look of just like little, like, mommy never bought me the toys I wanted, or daddy never hugged me enough. She just had that little look like.
Yeah. She's an angsty teenager, wearing the drab clothing and unhappy kid.
Yeah. And one part during this little class, the teacher's name is Rose. She's important to remember because she's one of the main characters. And she talks about this little ritual they were trying to kill these witches or witchcraft type shit happened on that site where the school is now built. And then we jump to the lunch scene at the lunch table. Remember, then we get like the original Mean Girls.
Yeah. I called them Mean Girls in my notes because the jogger, I don't think we know her name yet, but she walks into the classroom and there it is, or into the lunchroom. Where do I sit? There's all the Mean Girls, and then there's the weirdo over there who's like
little cutter Clara the Cutter.
Yeah, Clara the Cutter, little weirdo all by herself. So she I think she sits near-ish Clara. And let's see. Oh yeah, so the buzz in the cafeteria is all about the killers striking in nearby towns, and they're talking about how the last killing last night was another killing, and they think it's satanic. And then the Mean Girls just shift their attention to Clara, who's totally ignoring them. I think she's drawing or something. And then they're like, she never has anything to say. Why does she never go home? And then I think she gets mad at him and runs off and whatever. So hides. And that's when the headmistress comes in and sees the newspaper and was like, don't pay attention to the tabloids. This is trash, regarding the headline. So she kind of tries to downplay the killings. So
stupid headmistress.
Yeah. We'll see her again, but nothing ever really.
No, because I put in my notes in there about this headmistress. I put she just put off that vibe of bitch, you're going to die later. You're going down. But
that's something I didn't really notice until we started talking about it. But she does kind of where does she, that's something fishy about her that I didn't notice. But anyway.
She is gone, like I said. And and come to find out when they asked the kids where to get the newspaper's like, oh, we got it from the teacher's boyfriend, the teacher being Rose. So then that's when little girl runs out. But then that's when the one girl gets the phone call to the principal's office or whatever for a phone call.
And yes, and I think at this point we have found out that the jogger's name is Samantha.
Yes.
And Samantha is the one who gets the phone call, and it is stepdad saying, there's been a change of plans and you're not coming home for Christmas, because apparently all the other girls in the school are getting all packed up. Everybody's getting ready to go. Samantha had packed her suitcase with a picture of her and her mom. So she was ready to go home, and then plans changed and stepdad's not going to come get her. And yeah, so that's pretty shitty.
This when all goes down, of everybody's leaving, the only one that's gonna be in this fucking house through Christmas is going to be the teacher Rose, Samantha, little cutter Clara, and then the boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah. And
Jim.
the boyfriend, it looks like the boyfriend and Rose have a sweet little setup. Don't they have a little house off to the side near, like they don't live in this, it looks like they have a home on the premises that looks pretty cute.
They might, like, yeah, so Jimmy and Rose.
Yes.
Jimmy doesn't, like, he's one of the fourth ones, but because Jimmy has to leave. The day they're all going, Jimmy's taking the fucking headmistress and somebody else to the bus station or wherever.
Yeah, he's taken all those girls to the bus station, and he has made some gingerbread cookies, and he's just saying, oh, we'll be back, I'll be back later. I'm just taking them to the bus station. So he's coming back.
Oh, yeah. He's coming back for a little Christmas time loving. He's about to have this whole joint to himself.
Oh, yeah.
Because after the Samantha got the bad news, she went to runs down the hallway, goes into the bathroom. When she goes into that bathroom, remember, she swings that stall open and she sees Clara sitting on the toilet with the knife in her hand.
Yeah, doing some pretty good cuts on herself.
Doing cutting. And she just kind of like, took off and ran out, and
yeah, because that's awkward. I mean, you walk in on that, it's awkward.
Yeah. You don't know what to say. Just, I know what I'd say. It'd be all the wrong things. I know that.
Yeah.
Then we get our killers. They are now inside of a church. And this is where you're going to get it, that tattoo removed.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
Yo, yeah. Yeah, so they end up in this church, and so they find the priest, and they, I guess, pull up his shirt and see on his belly, I guess, the tattoo, the markings. And so they just start cutting it off. And as they're doing it, I had to back it up because in my notes, it actually says, it looks like a slice of ham, and it's gross. Because I just, like a big slice of ham you're going to put on your sandwich. So nasty. And then they're just looking at it, and then he shouts, "Don't let it out." And then they say, "Silence him," and snap his neck, and they leave the church with that little flap of skin.
and I thought the priest handled that pretty well.
He did. Yeah.
I have a lot of tattoos, and I just don't think I would be as quiet as he. I mean, he made some noise, but he took it like a champ. Because they got that sweet meat right down there on his belly.
That little soft spot, like that belly meat, like that pork belly meat. Yeah. And he had a nice round belly.
Like, good job, preacher. You did pretty good, buddy.
Yeah, he was stoked about it for sure. But yeah, kind of like he knew, it was inevitable. It was going to happen at some point, I think. So, but
then after that, once again, that little girl wakes up again.
Startles from her dream, and then that's when she gets up and watches all of her schoolmates getting out, and I think that's when Jimmy takes them in the car, and the jogger has been jogging again, and she passes by. Jimmy's like, Samantha, do you want a gingerbread? And she's grumpy and runs off, and she's just inconsolable because this is gonna be a shitty Christmas, and I've had shitty Christmases away from family, and they're just shitty. It's a time for family.
Yeah, I've missed a few with deployments and stuff like that. I definitely get it. But then there's a part of me, like now, where I enjoy being by myself, and I would find that, like, I would have a heyday in that big ass building by my, just me and somebody else. Especially once I figured out there was some fucking vodka downstairs. Shit.
Yeah, it is on. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would just be running around that place going crazy. Yeah, naked, drinking vodka, all by myself, not a care in the world.
Yeah, so the Jimmy's left to take the fucking headmistress. The girls go in the house. They're doing their thing. Miss Rose comes out and she's talking to Samantha, trying to cheer her up, ask her about let's bake a pie together.
Yeah.
And, she tells her to talk about the ingredients. And that's when we find out there's some fucking vodka down in the basement.
Because one of the ingredients for baking a good cake is vodka, which is in the basement where the cook hides it.
Yeah. And so Samantha goes off to the basement, it's typical creepy basement. Door opens up. It looks dark. She's looking down the stairs. Every movie that's got a basement has this one shot in it to where you're standing at the top of the stairs, you look down in there, and they're always too fucking dark, you know. And I can imagine even worse, back in the 70s because the lighting ain't as good as it is now.
Oh, right.
And the good thing was when Sarah found the fucking vodka, I was like, when she finds it, I'm like, I've said it out loud. I'm like, girl, you better take your little sip.
And she did. Why wait?
And then next thing you know, little fucking Cutter Clara is just standing there. Like, where the fuck this chick come from?
Like, boo, here I am.
But apparently Clara spends some time down there, and you see them go into this little area of the basement where Clara hangs out. She's got a bunch of, she tells her all the books that they won't let them read. Like all that, like off limit type shit at the school that they can't read. And
like a hidden library down there with like leather bound books.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Little creepy area down there. And while they're down there, I'm thinking to myself, but they were down there for a little minute. And I'm sitting there going like, holy shit, Rose, teacher, you fucking suck. Like this girl, you sent her to the basement to go get some vodka and she ain't been back yet. Like it shouldn't take this long. But fucking, she never comes looking for it. There's no yelling down the hallway, yelling down the basement. Like you just sent this teenager girl off down to a basement where there is vodka. Bro, she's just down there just drowning her sorrows.
I'd be up there like, where is that kid with my vodka?
Yeah. She just but they sit there a minute and they decide to both go upstairs. And then we're going to get to probably this one of my favorite parts in this movie is where we get the killing crew just riding down the road.
Oh yeah.
And for me, this part for me it came across as like the Marilyn Manson type feel. Where he would send them out to go to do the killing, and it just had this little vibe of them in the car, the guy and the girls in the back seat smoking some weed, a little music playing, and it just had this feel of like Charlie Manson could just pop out at any minute, Ghost like Charlie right in the back seat.
Sex, drugs, and murder. That's what it felt like. I was like, something bad's gonna happen. They're making out in the back seat. Something bad is about to happen.
Then we also see that one of them's a little jealous. The dude driving, Doug is his name, is a little jealous. He keeps looking in the mirror and he sees this girl all up on Jude, who's the head of these guys. And she's kind of making out. He keeps looking up in the mirror, and he's got his little flash doing some drinking. Next thing you know, bam, fucking Bambi. Bambi's daddy.
It's a buck.
Daddy Bambi lands on the fucking windshield. And I'm sitting there going, of course, and they get out, they move in the deer out of the road. And just a random police car comes driving by. And and
this is about the time that Danny, that's the driver, right? Because I kept calling him Mustache.
Doug.
Yeah, sorry, Doug. He's standing there looking at the dead deer, and he starts to say, does anyone else think this might be a bad omen? And they're like, what are you talking about? Let's move this fucking deer.
Yep.
And then the cop shows up. It's like, hey guys.
This part it annoyed me a little bit because when the cops there, they're all trying to play it off like, hey, we hit a deer, and the police officer, and he's kind of looking, and you see him start looking because fucking Doug's over there at the car looking suspect as hell. Like he looks guilty already.
He's like, oh, guilty over there. Yeah, he's good. He
Yeah.
looks
And so as soon as he seen Doug looking guilty, he kind of starts looking around. And this is the part I don't get. On the ground is this piece of skin that they had cut off. Now, in my mind, especially after I watched the movie, that is a pretty important piece of meat for what's got to go down. How? Because in the car, you seen Grant, the fat dude, Grant, he had it in his hand. And I'm just like, that was an important piece of the puzzle for what they have planned.
Yeah.
For you all to get out of the car, both everybody's standing there, and nobody sees that sweet meat just sitting on the highway. When the police walks up and just looks right over at it, and there it is.
Yeah.
And none of y'all fuckers seen it. Like, you should have had that motherfucker tucked down in your nutsack or something just to make sure that you don't fucking lose it. Put a little meat on your meat.
You just wrap it around. You just
make a little piggy in a blanket with it or something. Shit.
A bacon wrapped.
Yeah. Especially once I seen the ending, and I was like, I got to thinking back, and I'm like, that little piece of meat. Just nobody seen it sitting out on the road.
Yeah, yeah. And didn't the cop pick it up? Did we see him pick it up, or am I making
he picked it up. He picked it up, and when he went to grab his gun is when big boy Grant hit him over the back of the head like a tire iron.
Yeah,
and next thing you know, of course they're going to kill him. They have to kill him.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I'm just like, I was feeling the vibe when they're riding up the road, and then they had that shit go down with the fucking skin in the road, and I'm like, come on, man, like,
yeah,
I'm just gonna, and nobody sees it. Police officer walks right up, and now the part that we missed was when he hit him over the back of the head. The police officer already had his gun out, so when he hit him, he pulled the trigger, and I thought it hit Doug. Guilty Doug, standing over the car. The same Doug who got out of the car, looked at that deer and said, "This is a bad omen." Now, your dude just got shot, and y'all still ain't picking up the signals, people. Something is telling y'all to just turn the fuck around.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are so determined.
Yeah. And have they mentioned yet that they're on, we have to stick to the schedule? Because at some point they mentioned the schedule a couple of times. Like they're on there's a reason they're doing it in this sequence in this amount of time.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Then we go back to the house, and the ladies are all there getting ready to have dinner and knock on the door. Then we get the fucking.
And guess who?
Yep. Rose goes to answer the door. She opens it up, and there is Jude, and then Doug standing there bleeding like the little bitch he is.
Yeah.
And she's basically trying to like stop him from coming in, but she's a fucking sucker, being nice didn't get her nowhere.
And see, that's the creepy thing is I see her saying, "I'm sorry, I can't let you in." And I'm like, well, as the guardian of these teenagers, she can't let these strangers period in. And they're, who are these people? Yeah, it just looks nefarious, and it is. So she tries to keep them from coming in. Oh, I think she says, "I can't invite you in," and the girl says, "We don't need an invitation," and she just pushes the door in. And the girl's name is not Haley, it is Maisie.
Yeah.
Maisie.
When she comes up to the door, she basically says that little motto, like the whatever black.
Oh yeah. I wrote it down.
Look out for each other. And that's what she goes to tell her. She goes, "I went to school here." She's like, I'm in some of those pictures on the wall, all the school pictures and stuff like that. So that's another reason why Rose was a little more willing, I guess, to let him in. Like, once again, Rose, nice got you nowhere.
Exactly. Yeah, the alma mater was the school, sorry, Blackville girls always look out for each other. So yeah, we're gonna hear that a few times.
Yep. Because when she sticks her head in the door, she goes, if I still remember right, there's a first aid kit behind the door in the kitchen. So, you know, she went there, she said in like 1964. And so we're at 71 now. But then they're all in the kitchen. Rose over there doing, you know, nice people shit, stitching his little arm up. You know, bullet didn't even go in it, damn it. It just grazed him.
Yeah.
Just
he's just a baby.
Yeah, and Doug acting like he fucking just took a full on round to the chest or something. But the killing the Jude, the little head dude, he's talking to him, and they're already starting to put off this vibe, like, you know, it is not going to go well from this point on.
Right. Yeah.
Rose is trying to get him to leave, and you can tell it's getting kind of tense in there, and then. Basically, she tried to tell the girl to leave. Excuse me.
And the girls do leave. The girls run out of the kitchen, and then Rose is still in there. And I believe and I think she like pulls some scissors on Maisie, and they're like, ooh, she has scissors. And then Rose runs out of another door. So we've got the two girls, Samantha and Clara, going off this way. We got Rose going that way, and the killers are still in the kitchen with all the food.
Yeah, and so now it's about to start amping up a little bit. Some of the pieces are going to start coming together of what all's going on, because these guys, they end up chasing the girls. They're gonna recatch them again. Doug is going to get the two girls. Then Jimmy ends up coming back into the picture now. Jimmy's back from the bus stop because Rose had run upstairs hiding in like her room or an office, and she looks out the window and sees Jimmy. And when she tries to open up the window trying to yell for Jimmy, fucking big boy Grant comes back, cracks him over the head, you know. And that's when, remember, he reached down and he picked up the diamond that Jimmy had bought for her, because Jimmy was going to propose over the Christmas weekend. He had plans.
Oh,
He was
dang.
gonna put a ring on it. Put a ring on it.
He was gonna. You know, Rose is pretty cute. Yeah, you know, you better put a ring on it.
It wasn't like he had a lot of options out there wherever the fuck they were staying, you know.
No, he didn't. And while that's happening, Samantha and Clara have hidden in, I forget what part of the school they're in, but they're hiding, and I forget his name. I keep forgetting the guy with the mustache. Doug. I just called him Mustache. I made up a nickname for him. So
hey,
Doug.
I'm doing nicknames on this show.
Doug's got his knife, and then Samantha just comes up and bam, just hits him in the face with the chair, and he grabs her. I think he loses the knife. Yep. And this is another little thing that I was like, what is up with Cutter Clara? Because Clara gets the knife. He has Samantha like in a chokehold, and he's saying, give me the knife. And she just like willfully is like, okay. And something is off about that, because she could have done so many other things, and she just willfully was like, okay, here's your knife back while you're holding my friend, and you could so that was the first thought. I was like, something is really up with Cutter Clara.
Yep, I thought the same thing when that part happened. And so now they've all brought them back into a they take them all to the dinner table, and they basically take them all to the dinner table. Jimmy's still alive. He's not dead, but now they're all in the kitchen, around the kitchen table, getting ready to eat, and they're all taped up. And I'm not going to spoil everything that goes down in this kitchen, in this dining room, but the only good thing that I got out of it was how he handled Jimmy. He fucking made Jimmy get on his knees and do like he was going to propose to her. And Jimmy would have been up. Jimmy, well, he wasn't going to be okay either way. He could have lasted a little longer if he didn't try to be a fucking hero when he did.
Exactly. That's exactly what I wrote, was that the girls and Rose are tied up at the dinner table, and when Jimmy tries to play the hero, he gets his throat slashed.
I mean, he didn't even put up, it wasn't even a good fight. It was just
No. He
as soon
just
as
got up and was like, fuck you. And the guy was like,
he was going to take the tape off his mouth and let him do his little fucking proposal. And when he did it, he did this little it was a loser move, Jimmy. You deserve what you got, Jimmy, because you fucking suck at life.
he does not deserve Rose. But then that is when, doesn't Jude grab the engagement ring and put it on her hands are bound with duct tape behind her back, and he puts that engagement ring on her finger, which will be important.
Yep. So then we're going to get to a part where they're bringing them all into like the big living room area. It's like a little hangout big room, you know, couch, fireplace, Christmas tree, the whole 9 yards.
Time to open presents.
Yep. They escort the girls up in there. They got them all like kneeling on the floor right there. Maisie starts making some comments about opening up Christmas gifts and stuff like that. They start opening up some gifts, and what Rosa did, because Rose is so fucking nice, which got her nowhere, let me remind you all, but Rose had left a gift under a tree for both the girls. And the gift that she had left for fucking Samantha, they open it up and they pull out this blue dress. And this is where the second part of where Cutter Clara something's up, because they tell her to put the dress on. She's like, didn't want to get undressed in front of them. They're like, well, they make Clara stand up in front of her to help her put the dress on. And when she's putting the dress on, like Clara zips it up and she turns and Clara's looking at her, but she's smiling. She's just looking up at her with this like fucking creepy ass smile. And I'm sitting there going, what the fuck is up with the damn crazy chick right here? Yeah. And Glenn had even noticed, said something, he's big boy, right? Grant is the big boy. Grant. No, it started with a G. Yeah, when they escorted her, he escorts her Clara into the dining room or living room where they're going to open gifts, and he actually says she's being very cooperative. And that was right before Samantha had to get undressed, and I'm like, what is this chick's like? You just know something's up. Like, why is she trying to help them? Yeah, because the rest of them were still kind of like taped up and shit on her mouth. But when he came in with fucking Clara was just walking in free, like no tape, no nothing. And he made the comment, like you said, she's being a good girl, so he lets her, you know. And they go through the gifts. They had opened up one for fucking Clara. She had bought one for Jimmy, and it was a fucking cheap ass fucking tie. How guilty was Rose going to feel? How guilty was she going to feel? If she got a fucking diamond and all you got our boy Jimmy, who just died for you, Rose, you got him a fucking tie. Something he could have just went down any given day and just picked some piece of shit towel for rack. That's what you bought him. And I like the symbolism behind that, because a tie and he got his neck slashed. So I just thought that was interesting. I was just pissed off whenever he opened up that box and it was a tie. And he comment like, well, he's not going to need this anymore. And I'm sitting looking at it going, really? Really, Rose? A tie? Like, what kind of relationship do y'all have going right now? You know? Yeah, that was a pretty shitty gift. Yeah. It was like, look, I'd rather have a pair of socks. At least that's something I can use on a regular basis. Yeah, underwear. I'll wear those too. But a tie, I'm never using that. Your boyfriend was a cook in the kitchen, Rose. He don't need a fucking tie. Jesus, Rose. You'd be ashamed of yourself, Rose. Yeah, that is a shitty gift. Don't ever get anybody a tie. Yeah, don't buy people ties, man. Who wears ties anymore? No, nobody.
Well, I guess even in the 70s.
Yep.
Ooh. And what kind of tie? Because they wore different ties in the 70s. Now I want to go back and see how thick it was, how wide it was. Anyway.
While all this is going on, when they had came into the little living, they had taken and then they had put this design on the floor. They have painted this design. Well, they had like a jar of blood. They poured this design. And when I start seeing this, I'm like, okay, this is some like witchcraft type, sacrificial type bullshit going on. And and then you see them lay out those pieces of skin in like this little design. And Maisie starts telling them about when she was a student there, that she had found this book of like black magic type shit. And they're thinking, okay, we're going to summon this demon and we're going to get these powers. We're going to get all these wishes or whatever. We're going to get everything we want because we're going to summon this demon, you know? And once again, I'm thinking to myself, she says we had a black magic book. They are doing this whole thing, this whole plan based off of one fucking sheet of paper. One piece of paper. Damn it, Maze. It's a whole book of black magic.
Yeah.
Remember how in them olden days, they had to write with a fucking feather tip. That shit wasn't like typed up in Word format with like a different size font.
They're writing with the plume.
Like, if there was a fucking spell to bring a demon, I think you're going to need more than one page, Maze.
Right.
One page.
Good point.
It was just, as I'm seeing it, I'm like, these fucking idiots are going off of this chick's fucking one piece of paper that looks like some shit she could have just drew.
Yeah.
And so this is where the diamond comes back into play, because Rose is going to try to be a hero.
And we know what happens to heroes in this story.
Did you not watch what happened to your boy toy in the kitchen, Rose? No. So then Rose, you see her working that diamond on that tape. And she actually cuts it loose, cuts the tape loose. She gives one good little punch.
Yeah, she punched that fucker in the face.
Yep. And then she tried to dive for a knife that was sitting on the table. She don't make it because old Jude grabs her. They do a little wrestle. He drags her into the little sacrifice circle. And I was surprised at this moment because I honestly thought Rose was going to make it all the way through. Especially after they killed off old boy toy. I was like, okay, she's going to make it to the end. No, people.
Yeah.
Rose is part of the sacrifice. Because before this all happened, Jude had told them that the plan, like, I got to have a sacrifice, but I only need one, but I'm still going to kill all of you. They knew this was going to happen. So now they killed Rose.
Blood of the innocent. And who's more innocent than a school teacher? And I'm thinking, these teenagers?
I'd have snatched up little Samantha and slit her little throat if I was serious about it. Hey, but but now that whenever Rose goes down, when he cuts her neck, you see a little light flicker. Some of the lights flicker and shit. So they thinking, okay, the shit has happened now. So the lights stopped flickering. And it was right at the strike of midnight, because that was the schedule they were talking about. They had to be done at midnight. And they're all standing there. And this is where Doug is actually funny, because Doug's standing there making jokes. He's looking around like, hello, demon. Come out wherever you are, demon.
Doug is a joker.
Yeah. And Jude's getting kind of upset with Maisie. He's like, why ain't nothing happening? And this is where Maisie comes out now and says, there must have been more pages. No shit, Sherlock, because you tore the fucking page out of the book. You knew there were more pages. And so she's like, the book may still be down in the basement. And I'm like, here we go. Got to bring the basement back into it. And this is where you start really finding out what's going on, because they're going down to the basement, Jude and Maisie. They're sitting there talking to Doug and Grant still there. Doug basically says, I need a drink. Samantha says, vodka in the basement. Doug's going to get his fucking booze. But you start noticing Clara starts, the way Clara to be the quiet kid has gotten real chatty all of a sudden.
She's asking a lot of questions and she's kind of like feeding them what she wants to hear back too. So she's being manipulative for a little girl. Asking Doug, so what do you want from the demon? Surely you're summoning it for a reason. And then he says, I think he starts just kind of giving her a lot of information about the murderous crew and asks a lot of, Clara starts to ask a lot of questions about Maisie and Jude and where do you think they ran off together, and just kind of putting ideas in his head. So yeah, interesting.
And then when we get back to the basement, they go down there and Maisie's looking for the books. Well, then this is once again where the Clara thing comes in, because earlier when Clara and Samantha was in the basement, Clara comes out with a book, sets it on the table and opens it up. Then they leave. The book that Maisie goes to and finds it was right on the page where she tore her page out of, because she literally put the page right back on there and lined it up. And so I'm like, holy shit, fucking that's the same book Clara opened up earlier. And now she's there with that same book with that missing piece of paper. And I'm like, this little girl, Claire. And that's when I figured out, like, she got to be the demon. That something's up with this little girl.
I think that's about the time I figured it out too. And then I felt dumb for not figuring it out sooner.
Yeah. Because
they got me.
Yep. I was back upstairs. Claire is starting to talk to Grant. And Grant, you're seeing Grant and he's talking to her and he's basically telling her to like sit back down, but she's like standing up, coming towards him. And she like leans over to him and like whispers in his ear and says like, hell is waiting for you.
Yeah.
Then it just starts kind of echoing through the whole fucking place, because Doug's hearing it, Jude and them's hearing it downstairs.
Yeah.
And then Jude is fucking, he's an idiot. Like he's down there in the basement getting like, he thinks that I think I feel it. I think I feel something, like you're
like I feel it in me.
And one of the parts that really, the only part in this movie that I will say that creeped me out, because it happens in every movie that has this happen, that does this, is where it goes back upstairs and Clara turns her back to Grant and she starts taking off like her gown type thing. And any type of horror movie that will give me a chick or whatever that can do that body bending type of shit, where sometimes they'll make the cracking noise and they just contortioning themselves. Yeah. That shit just makes me cringe. And I watch a lot of fucked up shit, but I just think that's just, it's creepy when she does that. And she's doing this little fucking creepy ass dance and she pulls her shirt up and she's got all that shit carved on her fucking stomach, all them designs and shit for that ritual shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then she has Big Boy touch it.
Yep.
And then she commands, you should let her go. And yeah, that little creepy dance she did, I really like that. Cause like you said, she turns her back to us and I hear the cracking and the contorting and then it looks like, I'm like, oh, she's taking off her clothes. And then I'm like, maybe she's taking off her skin. Like that's
what I was expecting.
Yeah. I was like, is she taking off her skin? What's going to happen? And then when she turns around, you can see that change in her face, that something else is behind those eyes now. So I thought that was very well done and very creepy.
Yep. And I don't feel like spoiling the ending of it.
Oh, we don't have to. We don't have to spoil it.
Don't spoil any of it. We're going to talk about something real quick, though. One of the things, another thing that kind of bugged me when she basically told Grant to let Samantha go. They walked Samantha out to the foyer area to leave the building. Now, I'm like, okay, hit the door fucking running and just be gone.
Yeah.
But, and then later, a few minutes later, Jude's wandering around downstairs, and I still see Samantha in some random hallway.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, damn it, Samantha, you were at the same door you came in when you went on your run earlier.
Uh-huh.
How the fuck are you still in this fucking house, acting like you lost?
Oh, well, that's interesting because, yes, you're absolutely right. We'll find out. Yeah, that if I say something else, I will spoil it. But we see that again towards the end, happening with like Maisie, for example, trying not to say too much. But that's interesting considering the way things go, that happens to Samantha. I guess you can't trust a demon.
I don't get it. I didn't understand why the fuck, Samantha got lost. I was sitting there going like, damn it, you've been in this place for more than a day. Like as soon as little girl Clara the cutter said go, you should have been nothing but the taillights out that fucking place.
Yeah, because you live there. You know how to get out.
Yep.
You aren't the intruders that don't know their way around this big ass place. Yeah, you know how to get out there. But remember that demon starts tricking people and trying to confuse them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't really catch that. Kind of I wouldn't call it an inconsistency, but it's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
okay,
bug me.
It all ties together, people. It's all going to come together to where at the end of the day, we all know at this point, Clara is this demon thing.
Yeah.
And it was the demon had a plan. Damn it. The demon had a plan.
And the demon even told her, go with me, or you'll die. Or no, she says,
she tells her to leave or she'll die.
Yeah, leave or she'll die.
Yep.
Basically, she's saying, here's your chance, get the fuck out. This is your chance to go or you will die. But then why, in my opinion, the demon's trying to keep people there in that, like, oh, how do I get out? So that's good. Now that bugs me too. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so Claire's going to go on a little tear where, payback's a bitch, Jude and Maisie and Doug and Grant, because she basically, now the tables have turned. Now they're all sitting at the fucking dinner table. And I don't want to go and just ruin the end of it. Okay, not going to ruin the end of people.
Okay. Well, you've made an executive decision.
Yeah, we're just going to hold it right there. There's a little twist at the ending of it where it all kind of gets pieced together of why this is happening and stuff like that. How did you like the ending of it?
I liked it. The actual like very ending, like the closing scene, I really enjoyed. I liked it. What did you think?
I like the fact that Samantha surprised me at the end.
Yes.
I didn't think old girl had it in her.
And
swinging with the axe. I was like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is
absolutely.
And I don't think. Go ahead.
So I don't think this is spoiling too much, but the fact that Samantha is a jogger, that point comes out in part of the ending as well, because at some point she does have to run. Yeah, when because it's now I don't want to ruin anything.
No, good. If we go in little bits and pieces, it's all right.
It sounds like we're both saying, like, if I liked it enough that I don't want to spoil it all the way through. And I guess I should just go ahead and say that I'm going to call this a fuck. I liked it.
Okay.
I just went there.
Yeah, you did. You threw the rating right out there. You made the executive decision.
I was like, well, if we're just going to talk about, well, I don't really want to spoil it. I liked it. It's a fuck for me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's going to be a kill for me.
Really? Wow.
It's
Wow.
it was a good one night stand, one and done. But I don't want to call it back up again. And it wasn't that the movie was really bad. It was sometimes like actors or actresses sometimes will turn me against one. Jude, I thought it was going to be kind of cool in the beginning. He had that kind of, just little cool look.
Yeah.
And it just became fucking nuts. And he annoyed me. I got the little parts of it that, that I guess some people, I overthink it, I guess, on certain parts where I'm kind of like the skin in the road, stuff like that, wasn't a bad movie. The movie was good. It was a good watch. You
just don't need to see it again.
Yeah, I have no desire to watch it again. It's up there with, I watched it. I saw, and but we always tell everybody here, I'll never get on this show and tell you do not watch a movie.
Right.
I tell everybody has their own opinion. Everybody likes what they like, but it was a fun watch. It had parts where I thought was funny, so, and there's been movies I killed just because it just sucked, I just hated it. For this one, I didn't hate it. I'm going to lose its phone number when it goes out the door the next morning.
You're going to give it the number to Pizza Hut.
Yeah. I'm not even going to call her an Uber. Hell no. But
and at some point, like, I really liked it, but there was a point towards the end, a part that we didn't talk about, where I'm watching it and I'm thinking, that's when I started wondering, is this like a PG-13? And that's when I wanted to Google it and find out the rating, because I was like, I have a hard time with humor in horror movies, and I think there was a little too much humor in this one in particular for what it was. I wanted it to be scarier. I wanted it to be meatier. I didn't want to have any comic relief in this one, and there was a little bit, and it wasn't bad comic relief. I just didn't want to see it in this movie. So
yeah, and for me, the movie could have been, I think it could have been a little darker, just a little more. I mean, I get it when it comes to certain ratings. There's certain things they want to do to keep it to a certain spot. And so I get that. But I was like you when it came to, I felt like there's certain horror movies that are meant to be funny, like Tucker and Dale. Like, it's meant to have that scary,
that's over the top, ridiculous, silly.
Yeah. But this one, the way it was going, it definitely didn't need it. It was, and that's why I said I had a couple of funny parts when Doug sat there making his little comments and shit like that. But it's just, it could have been a little darker. Could have been a little more.
I agree. It could have been.
You're dealing with the witchcraft, Satan type stuff.
Yeah.
I was glad though that when the little girl turned to, like, when she took her gown off, I really did not want to see a set of like demon wings come flapping out. I'd have just been like, oh fuck.
Yeah. I'm glad that didn't happen too. So I think it was done well the way that it was, but there's something like at some point the demon does levitate, and I was watching that thinking, is that really necessary?
Yeah, and that part to me made it look more cheesy.
That's when I started to wonder if this is PG-13.
Yeah, because that whole scene, she could just been there on the ground, just eye to eye with her.
Why did you need to levitate? Are you trying to prove a point? We already know you're a demon. What's there to prove?
Yeah, like when she starts floating up, and then when it would show it, the view of it just looked super fake.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just, I like y'all could have done without that. Like she could have just been with that little mean, creepy smile she gave her earlier in the fucking living room when she was putting the dress on was
yeah.
more creepy than the little floating up in the air type shit.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
But not a bad movie, people.
Not a bad movie, but
It is one of those. It's just a good movie night movie.
yeah,
Too hard. You could put some kiddos in front of it. It's no nudity, no crazy killing. There's some throats cut.
there's some gory stuff. There's some
Yeah.
stuff that I really thought, ooh, that's gross, but I enjoyed that, But yeah, the kids could be in the room and you watch this movie and it's not. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
have kids. I don't know what I'm talking about, but
Hey.
maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, you can. A one night stand can be a whole lot of fun, but you never have to do it again. But I'm still staying with the fuck on this one, because there may be a time I watch it again, but
You never know. The holiday season come around, you might be feeling kind of festive.
right, exactly.
You know what? I mean, let me pull out old Claire the Cutter here and give her another.
Yes, because I do love a good holiday scare.
Yep. Yep, that's the review here for the Sacrifice game. Jamie's giving it a fuck. Our friends with benefits.
Yeah.
Giving it a one night stand. I had a good time with her, but I'm not calling her no Uber. She got to walk at home.
She got to do the walk of shame.
Walk of shame. But hey,
put them panties in your purse and walk on home.
had fun with it, but hey, go check the movie out. Go watch it. It's on Shudder. Stop by. Let us know what you think of it. If you've seen it, stop by. Like I told you earlier, people, leave some reviews, leave some likes, subscribe, follow, comments. Damn it, I welcome all the comments. You got any questions for me? Well, like, why am I so fucked up? Ask me. I don't care. But I have no idea what's coming next week, so I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. But I appreciate everybody who stops by, who takes the time to listen to this shit show and listen to us just laugh bullshit about some horror movies. They've reached that part of the show, people, where normally I grab my drink and I tell you to put your chairs away and get the fuck out of here. But if you have watched this on YouTube or if you've been listening, not one time during this show have I took me a gentleman jack break. Here's the reason why. And we're all family here. So I'm an open book, people. Tomorrow, we're recording this on Thursday. And we're a week prior to this show coming out. So just know this is Thursday that I'm recording this. Friday morning, tomorrow morning, I have to be a colonoscopy done.
Oh,
yep.
Wow.
So today is the prep day. And if anybody's ever had one done, you know what the prep day entails, the things you cannot do, and the one thing that you do a lot of. So I wasn't able to drink on this show. And I think this may be, I don't remember if I've ever come on this thing without a beverage, period. So, but yeah, that's why there's no toast at the end, people. I can't do it this week. I want to let Jamie, you're going to do the exit part since you have
I will do that, although I can't say it as eloquently as you. So instead, I might just have to say, I will be thinking of you when you have the chocolate starfish invasion.
Yes.
It's all going to go well. I do remember you talking about this a few podcasts ago, maybe a couple months ago. And I'm so sorry to have laughed so hard about your description of what is going to happen. It's not a funny thing. It's an important thing. Get that butt checked. Sure. And on that note, I think it's time to grab your drinks, put away your chairs, and get the fuck out of here, right?